let's talk to the chairman of the Shark Trust, who joins us now live from Cape Town, Richard Peirce. Richard, good afternoon. The arguments, both sides, we've heard them there from Jonathan. What are the alternatives, do you think, to this problem in Western Australia?
I think there are quite a lot of alternatives. Let me first of all just make a couple of comments about lines. They're indiscriminate. They catch not just the sharks you're targeting, the several sharks you're not targeting, and any other species that would bite a hook. So that's one problem. Another problem that the public are probably not aware of is that you're effectively setting up charm stations. So if these hooks catch sharks or any other fish, anything else, they're going to wriggle, they're going to bleed, and that's going to have the effect of bringing in other sharks. So as well as catching sharks, they're chum stations, they're an attractant. So I would question how efficient they're going to be. I understand the human fear, I understand the public anxiety, I understand that politicians want to be seen to do something, but I really do question what they're doing. There are several other systems that could be trialled with possibly better results and certainly that aren't going to kill sharks. And they get brownie points instead of condemnation. And that baffles me because I thought politicians were in the business of trying to score brownie points.
I gather you're looking into the legality or otherwise of this sort of cull in the Commonwealth.
Yeah, I personally am not. I've seen quite a lot of debate about this. I really can't comment on that because I don't know enough about it, but I do know people are looking into that, yes.
Yeah, I mean, Australia has a long history of shark conservation, does it not?
Well, yes, it does. But the sadness of shark attack is that they sort of, in a way, sort of bring a knee-jerk reaction from us. I mean, where I am here in South Africa, back in the 1940s, and then Black December later on, the politicians felt they had to do something because they felt that people were demanding it. The problem with doing something is that it tends to be counterproductive very often. And once you've put these things out there, and in theory they're protecting the public, it's a very brave politician who takes them away, because if there's an attack the next week, they're worried about being blamed. Now, I know that these things are supposed to come out at the end of April, and then the situation will be assessed. I just hope the assessment is absolutely neutral and factual, and they discover that they weren't very effective, and they take them away and leave them away.
Right, I mean, it will be analysed what happens. What are your concerns about the shark populations, about the habits of the sharks in these areas?
That is, well, I'm not ducking the question, but that's far too complex a question to deal with here. But what I would say is that these things are supposed to be targeting sharks more than 3 meters. Those are supposed to be the ones that are being destroyed. So far, I believe I'm right in saying that 4 have been caught. 1 was shot with a totally wrong caliber, with a .22, so had to be shot 4 times. 1 was dead, and I believe 2 have been released, and we don't know if they survived. Great white sharks have been shown to migrate between South Africa and Australia, so it's not only, if you like, Australia's sharks that Australia might be catching on these drum lines. It's everybody's sharks. And some rather worrying research in South Africa last year indicated that there may be very much fewer great whites on this coast than was thought before. But if these are the same white sharks that are going from South Africa to Australia, and Australia are going to catch, for example, a large female pregnant, that would be a devastating event. And we don't even know that this shark has in any way ever been implicated in any human interaction.
Mm. What are the protocols, Richard, for swimming in the sea in these areas? Are there cordoned off areas that are protected and watched where people... I mean, if you know there's sharks in the water, you don't go in the water. I mean, that to me, I mean, I know we don't have them here, but that seems common sense. What does happen in places like Western Australia?
Absolutely right. I mean, you know, you're in their territory, not your territory. It's not beyond rocket science to sort of put up towers and watch the water and have signal systems. It's done very, very successfully here in South Africa. I don't know what they do in Western Australia, but I do know what they do in South Africa, and mostly it works. And in False Bay here in South Africa at the moment, they're trying a barrier net system to keep sharks off of keep white sharks off a particular piece of beach, which they've been attacked on in the past. So far, touch wood, that seems to be working. 2 friends of mine, 2 very well-known guys, Mike Rutson and Craig Ferreira, have each designed barrier systems which would be, I believe, completely effective with keep animals like white sharks and tiger sharks out, no danger to any other species, and cheap. I would love to see Western Australia trialling these types of things rather than setting hooks to catch any and everything.
Richard Peirce, Chairman of the Shark Trust, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Well, on Sky News